Good. So, well, there we are. Good evening. Today I want to take another try at Nomad, the 3D sculpting app on the iPad. And, there's another update or upgrade. I actually bought a patch cable, really classical, to connect the computer with the router, and it looks like it actually stabilizes the stream very much. So I hope this stays stable and the stream doesn't collapse, and I'm looking forward to a nice streaming session. Okay, so let's have a look at this app. There we are. What we see here is a primitive, just a ball, somewhat with some bulges or slightly deformities over here. While I rotate, you see that the surface isn't a perfect ball, and we can look at the geometry, at the actual mesh, at the vertices and the edges of the mesh when we are activating these in the left lower corner of the screen. When we activate the checkerboards looking icon over there, already for project, do whatever, yep, mach schon. Okay, remeshed. Okay, and this would be the icon right next to the checkerboard. Would be an icon to actually make the geometry visible. So as we see here, we've got a lot of little surfaces all stitched together, and while we see there are edges, see there, if you're getting very close, you see, okay, this is not perfect. It's just a bunch of planes that are arranged in a way so they look like a ball or a sphere. Okay, now let's deactivate this feature, and now I'm gonna have a look at the tools on the right hand side. Over there right now we are having, when you have a look at the right hand side, right next to the logo, or up there, with the brownish background, and the name Clay below it. That's the current tool I'm using, and now I can use the actual Apple Pencil. So this one here, this is right now the tool I'm using, and when I'm drawing above this surface, I'm adding more volume to wherever I am pointing this stylus, so it gets drawn out of this ball of clay, if you want so. Oh, and everything is mirrored up front. If you don't want it mirrored, then you can deactivate symmetry, as on the upper left hand bar, this one here, see, where with the label sim right below it, and if I deactivate that, then there is no symmetry effect right there, and if I activate it, then we see, okay, every stroke I do is automatically duplicated and mirrored to the other side of this object right here. Now what I will be going for today will be some kind of dragon's head. So this would be the eye and the eyebrows above, and then we've got the cheekbones right below, and this will be, or this will become, the snout of the dragon. I'm not yet sure what his name will be. Maybe, well, it doesn't have to be Smaug, it can be Fafnir or whoever you want to have them, or just a generic dragon from your run-of-the-mill fantasy novel. Okay, so this is all very nice. You see, with the tool I can just pull out these the vertices, the points that are making up the mesh, the geometric foundation right here. And when I tap twice on the tool, on the Apple Pencil, then the effect of the tool gets inverted. So it's like the eraser in many other drawing applications, but instead of removing anything, it just reverses the effect of the tool. So instead of pulling some vertices out, I'm just pushing them in right now. See here, and now I reverse it back, and then I pull them out again, like that. But well, we see with the clay tool on the right, on the top right corner, I can only go so far. We see there's the geometry is limited, and this alone will cause me to either someday buy a new pencil, because I used so much of the new tips of the pencil because of all the friction on all the was heißt Abrieb auf Englisch, because of all the contact and the constant material getting lost while the tip of the pencil is moved across the surface of the iPad. All the material gets lost maybe, and so this is a bit tedious. Yeah, automatic save. Why does he do that? Strange. Okay, didn't do that earlier. So okay, now as you see, I've well, inflated sort of this area here, and all these surfaces are very much, well, they are much larger now. Making it look, well, very rough and edgy, and maybe we don't want that, because it should be a smooth dragon, maybe with some horns and stuff, but they shouldn't look like triangles, I'd say. Good. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, there are several possibilities. One is called remeshing. This is the actual checkerboard functionality that I accidentally triggered when I hit on the icon at the beginning of the streaming session. I'll do that now, and you'll see that the geometry of the object changes dramatically. See there? And what he did now was just to take the form, take the object, and create a new mesh which follows the old, well, outlines and surface, but is with a much higher tessellation, with a much higher, well, Auflösung, resolution. Yeah, okay, good. So now it's still not really looking like a dragon, more like a, well, a toad with accident maybe, or a mole or something like that. So we got to change that. First thing I will do is use the drag tool, and with the drag tool I can much easier draw out parts of the geometry like that. Now the dragon is becoming a rat or something like that. So something like that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, seriously. This is would still be embarrassing for a real dragon to look like that. We don't want it like that. This will be improved upon, of course. And on the other side of the skull of the dragon, I can pull out the throat. There we go. So this will be the throat later on. And now it's looking like a dog. Terrible. A dragon like a dog. No. Okay, well, Now let's have a look at the other dynamic topology tools, because there's another mode for the tools I'm using right now. Now I can of course just remesh every 5 minutes or something like that, so the geometry stays smooth and I'll have enough vertices to pull them around and maybe reduce the size of the tool right here. But like that. But this can get tedious, and in between you've always got these strange changes over there. So there is another setting for the tool, and on the upper left hand side, if I activate the topology icon, the checkerboard table sorter icon in the upper left hand corner, actually at the upper part of the screen, then you see there is a point like dynamic topology. You might know this feature from Blender if you ever used it. By the way, if you haven't had a look at Blender in the last, during the last year or two, then I really highly would recommend that you have another look at the Blender application for 2 reasons. First one is the graphical user interface has improved massively. It's just incredible with the 2.8 release of Blender, and the sculpting tool of Blender has just been upgraded, so it's much more the performance has increased about, I think, a factor of 2 or something like that with the same hardware. So have a look at Blender if you have the if you have the hardware to support it. And unfortunately, Blender isn't working or isn't ported to the iPad, so that's why I'm using Nomad on the iPad. And but what I actually wanted to say was this dynamic topology feature is very similar to the one you see in Blender or in other sculpting applications. I just check that box here, and this automatic saving is a bit strange. That didn't pop up last time. So now I've got the dynamic topology enabled, and what will now happen is maybe it's more visible if I turn on the geometry view over here. Now every stroke I will do every stroke I I'm missing the vocabulary here. Well, with every stroke I'll now change the topology and the geometry of this object right here, the dog-looking, soon-to-be dragon thing over here. Okay, so now I'll work more with this setting, with a dynamic topology, and maybe I shouldn't have the nose so big. Reduce the nose, maybe have him look a bit more like a bird, because birds are dinosaurs in disguise, and dinosaurs are almost dragons, though not fire-breathing, maybe. Then let's get this down a bit. Yeah, and then there's oh, by the way, have you heard of the tragic decision by Netflix? They won't. They cancelled the 2nd season of The Dark Crystal. This was a fantastic first season. If you haven't seen it, and if you've got Netflix, then have a look at it. This is just splendid craftsmanship. You'll see there all the puppets. It's actually based on an old Jim Henson film, The Dark Crystal. So right there. By the way, if you've got any questions, just put them in the chat box right here. I will have a Q&A session or Q&A part at the of the stream at the end. And now I will be using the drag tool over here to pull out the horns of the dragon, because especially for the drag tool, the dynamic topology is very useful. If I do not activate this right there, the drag tool is nice, but well, it has its limits, I'd say. But if I activate dynamic topology, it's much more useful. Now increase the size, and then I'll pull out one of the horns of the dragon right here, and we see everything up here, and it's much more, he's looking much more like a dragon right now. This is much better. And maybe 2 horns. Are 2 horns enough for a real dragon? Nah. Okay, I guess we need more. So, okay, I'll take that area over here and pull out another pair of horns. Yeah, read that. Okay. It's still a bit slim, maybe more like a, what's gazelle in English? Gazelle, is it? Don't know. Might have to look that up. A real dragon needs more horns, and maybe I should reduce the size or increase the size of the object and pull out some horns over here and here and here and over here. Ha! Okay, that's better. Good. So, and the second pair of horns I generate are looking a bit, well, do you know these images of I don't know, is it Baphomet or some demon or whatever? Well, it looks a bit like sheepish over there, so I don't want these ends up there. This is not what we want there. And fortunately we've got a tool. You see the trim tool down there, this one. I can just use the lasso option of the trim tool. This was on the left side of the screen, and then I can cut away at this horn right here, so it will just cut this part of the geometry, and now, well, it's at least a bit better than before. Okay, all right, so now, okay, we've got a little dragon over there, and I guess the jaw needs to be more massive, a bit. We get to take the geometry and pull it down a bit. Maybe that's too big. So, kind of a Arnold Schwarzenegger jawline for the dragon over here, and I want dynamic topology. Thanks. So, okay. Now the throat. Maybe we have to remodel some parts over here. Still no questions? Okay. Good. All right. So maybe just deactivate the mesh. And now I think we can smooth the surface a bit. There's a smooth tool over here. I think I've used it before without mentioning it. So when I actually activate on the left side the smooth icon over there, then there will be action. I spent 1 or 2 hours searching for an option to actually have the smooth tool do the smoothing, and the reason it didn't was because this icon on the left side over here wasn't activated. So if you are using Nomad and you're having a hard time with this, always look at the left for the options of the tools. Some things are not pre-configured or might be accidentally deactivated. I don't know if I fooled myself in that regard. So, okay. Good. Right. Okay, we could remesh this. And I would consider increasing the resolution of the voxel meshing. This would be good. And it's incredible how fast the program is. If you're so now it's remeshed, and I haven't met the part where the refreshing of the image would become lagging, or would be lagging or something like that. So the code is actually really good. It's using the resources of the iPad very well. So my compliments to the developer. This is actually a very nice piece of software. And since I've done some programming, I know that this can be extremely hard. Though, okay, most of the time I haven't been that close to the metal, I confess. And I guess he wrote it in Objective-C because I doubt that Swift will be the tool of choice for this kind of hardware optimizing language. I don't think Swift brings the tools for that, but I might be wrong. Swift is actually a quite nice language, by the way. I think we'll have a look into that in another session. I've written a little framework, or a little text adventure framework, so I can write some or easily create some text adventure games illustrated by, well, me, and written by, well, me, but not yet published because, well, it takes time. Okay, so it looks a bit more like a dragon, a tiny bit, yeah. Okay, well, so this can go on and on and on for hours, and you might not learn very much from that. So let's see what we got in our toolbox over there. We also have another tool over there called Paint. This is this one over here, and I think this is really strange. Why does he do that? I must have accidentally checked some auto-saving feature. So the painting over here, and now I will start to paint this dragon, or maybe just pull out the eye a bit more. So that has to be more convex. So like that. Okay. And then maybe we could reduce the volume down there. Alright. And smooth the surface a bit. Okay, of course, if you you would maybe like to have some scales of the dragon and all that stuff, we would have to increase much more detail to have a smooth rendering for that. What I didn't quite get is if it's possible to use bump mapping here. I don't think so. I haven't seen a feature like that, or displacement mapping. But this displacement would be nonsense, I guess. Since sculpting is actually used for creating these maps, I don't know if you can actually use it in here. So, okay, well, it looks a bit more like a dragon, maybe. Yeah, sort of. Okay, so now I'll leave it like that and take the paint tool over here. And now we will be looking at the layers. Right now there's only one layer. So what's a layer? Well, this works pretty much like in Procreate, or maybe in GIMP, And then there's another program created and sold by a terrible capitalist firm, you know. Of course you know what I mean, but I won't repeat the name for this ridiculously expensive software. So if you want to do 2D editing, take Procreate, take Pixelmator, take Affinity products, whatever, just not the one I mentioned, not the one I did not mention earlier. Okay, add layer over here. And now everything I change while this layer is active, while this layer is selected, will be stored separately from the base we modeled so far. So I can activate and deactivate everything I do now just by clicking on the eye of the layer right here on this icon on the right upper side. So, okay, and I have to activate it so everything I do gets written into this layer. And I will use some color now. I've already chosen the paint tool over here. And, alpha, interesting. Okay, so we do not only have the color itself, but its color value, you know, RGB. We also have material, like real color, which you would use to maybe paint your, I don't know, spray paint your car, something like that. And there are, of course, different surface properties. For example, this is very reflective, and this is not so reflective, and well, I think I go for this one. Almost looks like a dragon, but I can change the color separately from the reflective properties of the material itself. You see here, I can just pick another color. Maybe you want him to be a bit more bluish, darker, like that. And then there's the roughness. Over here it would be a very reflective dragon. Over there it would be a very, well, not so reflective dragon. Very rough dragon. But scales, I guess, are a bit reflective. Let's put it like that. And metalness is, of course, well, I don't think we should use this. Come here. Nah. Let's leave it like that. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, automatic saving should be automatic. That would be good. So I like me not having to interact with it. But anyway. Okay, so now I can paint on the surface. And the problem you see over there is once you start painting, you are depending upon the geometry. So every painting information is somehow glued, quote unquote, to the vertices, to the parts of the mesh over here. You see? And the more or the higher the resolution of your mesh, the better the strokes will look. So if I now go on the left hand upper side and increase the voxel remeshing value again to say 100, and I'm remeshing this, I might be able to have, yeah, it looks a bit smoother. Let's go with that. Okay, well, because this bluish green should be the base color for everything dragony here, dragony, I will just go to the painting tool over right on the right upper side and say paint all. Floop. So that's it. Nice one. Good. So now I just need to do everything, or to paint everything that's not greenish over here. And for I might create some errors later on, I'll just add another layer and then choose another material and color for the other material. So I'm not quite sure if I change that here, does that affect what I already did, or doesn't it? Does it look like it? Does it? Okay, let's give it a try. So the area around the eyes I would like to darken. Something like that, maybe. Yeah. And it could be rougher, like that. Okay. So let's go there. Oh, that was wrong. Why did he remesh this? I don't want remeshing for the pencil. That would be ridiculous. Why should anyone want this? Okay, I don't want to erase. I want to add. So okay, now this area below, around the eye. Oh, this is a bug. That's not good. See, I can, if I erase something of the colors I already painted, there's this white outline. Not nice. Okay, I mean I can correct for it with redrawing, but it doesn't look so good. Okay, there we have got a little bug. I mean, I guess we can live with that. So now, and there's a smudge tool, which is pretty cool, so I can just draw that out and have a nice gradient on top of the surface right here. And the problem is the gradient, once I'm pulling that into the already painted area, is also creating this strange white outline. Okay, now let's get back to the paint tool. Put that here, over there. And then, so when using the smudge tool in this application, I see there the material contrast between the rougher area around the eye and the more reflective part over there. The render is pretty cool. Neat. Only that, I guess, well, maybe that'll be a bug fix. Or maybe it's a feature. So now we've got some white lines on the dragon over here. No, I guess it's not a feature. Okay. Do it that way. Some kind of, let's have a Zorro dragon, Zorro over here. So, what do you mean that's ridiculous? Dragon with a mask. I mean, it's a anti-corona dragon. He is wearing a mask, but he didn't get the idea that's the mask would be about breathing, not about, well, watching or looking or being identified. Okay, that's one dragon. Good. Now, and as we've seen earlier, if I deactivate this, then the paint all vanishes. But, and this is pretty cool, it's not only painting that's stored in these in the layers, it's also geometry changes. If I put another layer on top of that, and then I go for, well, let's have, maybe drag something around, do that. So it's looking more like a rhinoceros. Is it rhinoceros in English? Don't know. Which looks rather ridiculous. Then I can say, oh, okay, is that really what I want? No, it isn't, and then I can go and delete the layer. Okay, so going this way, and I think I would just go on and add layers over layers, just as I did in Procreate, to separate the different colors. I'm not sure if that's the right approach right here, but I think I will try that. Okay, that's well, where are we? Almost over half an hour done today. I think we could leave it at that. I think the tool is really useful, apart from 1 or 2 bugs, but it's extremely fast. The resources of the iPad are very well used, and well, yeah, I like it. I just need to spend more time with it so I get more productive and faster. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, and well, I'd be happy if you'd join another stream of mine. I guess I will be streaming tomorrow again. There will be more like well, maybe a session about creativity and how to actually generate ideas for a certain application, use case, illustration, whatever. And well, yeah, I think that's it for today. All right, thanks. Bye.